All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's another Tuesday night here, World Softball TV. I've had a lot of great guests, and we had some great feedback from Todd Cadenhead on the show last week. Shared some amazing stories, and appreciate everybody's feedback. It's always nice to hear people are enjoying, especially during the time that we're in with COVID, and not being able to get out and share the field as much as we normally should. So this week we're going to take a turn to kind of talking about the Masters division. A lot of people overlook the Masters division. There's so many great players that have played the game at so many different levels here in Ontario and across Canada that now have flipped over to playing Masters ball down in the United States. And one of the guests that we're going to have this week, or the guest that we're going to have, is James Macciocchi. James Macciocchi, who is basically the guy who started the Homerlovers, and is going to offer some great stories. And as the interview progresses, I think you're going to really enjoy that. And he's going to share some stories about, even not just his softball life, but also his professional career, being the manager of Jerry D, who's from Family Feud and a lot of the different cool TV shows. One funny guy. So without further ado, let's get our guest this week out on the show here. Welcome, James. Hey, James.
Brian, how you doing? Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for jumping on board. I know that you've watched a lot of the episodes, and I appreciate you providing feedback and sharing the fact that you like enjoying it. So it continues to make me motivated to want to do this each week. And I know that we don't really know each other all that well, but we know of each other, and we've been Facebook friends for quite a long time, and we have a lot of mutual connections in the sport. And I know that you, as a Masters player, with all the experiences that you've had, I thought would be an amazing guest. So I appreciate you taking the time.
No, I appreciate you having me on. I've enjoyed, especially during these times, we don't have much else to do. So even, if it's 30 minutes, 45 minutes, when you can have a distraction, it's great. So I enjoy watching your shows.
Nice. Well, thanks again for coming on. Let's talk about the Masters game. Or even just kind of where you began in the sport. You started off playing slow pitch probably in Toronto, Scarborough area, and just kind of progressed from there. And you weren't always a Masters player. You were playing well before the Masters age for a lot of years before the clock starts ticking, so to say. But let's talk about your beginning in slow pitch and kind of how it all began.
Yeah, it's a great story, actually. My cousin, who's 12 years older than me, was my hardball coach growing up. And when I was 18, he started a work slow pitch league, and he recruited my younger brother and myself. My brother was 17 at the time, and he needed to get a rider in order to play. And we played 33 years with that team.
And what was the name of the team?
The Midcom Tigers.
Nice. And did you keep the name the whole entire time?
The entire time. Actually, I'm starting up another league team with Reg that he's starting up in Etobicoke, and just because that was the only league team I ever played on, I'm going to call it the Tigers for my cousin Joe.
That's awesome. 33 years in a league in Etobicoke or North York?
We changed leagues just because we got to levels where nobody wanted to play us. So then we moved around. We went to the Ajax League. We went to the Mississauga League. We bounced leagues. We changed leagues. And finally, we ended up in Ajax. And then again, the same thing happened. We won the championship maybe 2-3 years in a row, and then nobody wants to play. And then we couldn't find a place to play, unfortunately, because we didn't want to. 33 years is a great run. We didn't want to end it.
No kidding. 33 years with the same league team is you don't hear about that very often anymore.
A lot of different players, though, and because of my, I knew a lot of guys. We brought a lot of Homerlovers onto the team as well. So that, we were a competitive league team for sure.
Nice. No, so competitive league team during the week. I know that you took advantage of playing in the Super Series for a few years. Talk about the team that you had in Super Series and where that all kind of transpired and began?
Yeah, well, when I started the Homerlovers back in 1999, it was just we were playing we'd go to the falls every year with our league team, and we'd be 3-0, and it started getting frustrating for me and my brother. So my brother and I said, let's start our own team, and that was in '99. And he was supposed to help me, and basically the only thing my younger brother did was he was a big Homer Simpson fan, and not too many people know why. Everybody thinks we're the Homerlovers because of home runs, but no, my brother John loved the Simpsons and big Homer fan, so hence the name, the Homerlovers. So we started that in '99, and just playing D. We started playing D, went to the Nationals every year, SPN Nationals. Whistler in 2001 was like still one of my greatest memories, and then it progressed to the point where we got bumped to C, and then we started playing Super Series C, and then in 2006 we won the year, and we won the provincials as well in points.
Now, as a C Super Series team, I mean, there's a lot of really good C teams that came up through the Super Series. You talk about a team like the PT Bruins who started in C and ended up going up to A. The Yardmen were a C team that ended up moving up. How did you find the transition from C to B, and what were your thoughts on the difference between the two levels? Because there's a lot of people out there, James, that they stick at C, or they don't want to go beyond that because, well, they're afraid of the competition. What was your thought process when you got bumped from C to B?
Yeah, well, you always got to look for new recruits. If you're going to get bumped, you always got to pick up a few guys. But I don't think I did that first year. We took our lumps, but we were playing against teams like County Blaze and Team Combat. Evan Davis' team was a really good team back then. But we were still very competitive. Probably won a few events, but never got to that. But I really was not thinking like we want to play A. My vision was all about playing 40 ball and playing in the States and getting to the Masters level. So, and I played a little bit. I played a little bit of B with Combat, and then I played some A with the Mets, but that didn't last very long for me.
When you started the Homerlovers, I think the name is amazing. I would never have thought about the Homer Simpson thing. Like, that's blows me away because, I mean, you think of homers, you think of home runs, and that's probably what a lot of people out there think of.
Well, a lot of people called us other names other than.
Well, when you win as much,
I'm not going to bring it up, but we got called a lot of other names other than the Homerlovers. But
well, in terms of the transition from CB level into Masters, starting to play 40 ball. It's a little bit of a different game. The harder ball, the technology, the bats that you got to use. How did you like the transition of going from, like, I guess back then it was Worth Wickeds, to the balls that they were using in the Masters that you were playing?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm not a huge fan of, because I take pride in building teams that can hit but also can play defense. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact, if we played the teams in the States with our bats and our balls, that we'd be a lot more successful. Not that we're not successful in the States, but it just takes away from the defense aspect of the game, which is so important. But with the senior balls and the senior bats in play, like, yes, there's a limit. You can only score 5 runs per inning, and you're allowed 6 home runs, which sometimes can go very, very quickly, as I'm sure you're well aware of. But yeah, the transition to playing in the States with those balls and bats wasn't easy at first, but we adjusted and we made the right pickups in order to compete down there 100%.
Now, what are you playing now? I mean, you started 40s a while ago. But what's now Homerlovers is like an organization. You've got your multiple different age groups, and what are the age groups now that the Homerlovers are running, and kind of who's in charge of each team with the
Yeah,
Homerlovers?
that's a great question. That's a great question, Ryan, because now we got to the point because we were quite successful playing 40 ball in the States. We went to the Tournament of Champions since 2014, and we have 3 championships, and that's like the best of the best. They will not allow you to play that tournament unless you won a big tournament in the States, or hence we have to win a provincials or a nationals here to qualify. But we have 3 rings down there from the Tournament of Champions. And sorry, what was your question again?
Just in terms of who's running the organizations now. I mean, you
sorry.
kind of went out with started at 40. Now I know that you have a 50. I'm assuming you have a 55 as well, right?
Well, I just turned 55 this year, and I'm really excited about the potential, because my dream, I'm not quitting this until we win a world championships, which isn't going to be easy, because you're talking 55, 60 teams in 50 major, 55 major, or 40 major. But we went to Vegas. We've been going to Vegas for 7 or 8 years now. Unfortunately, we didn't get to go last year, but we started going in 40, and we were bringing a lot. Like, we were bringing the Ryan Kellys and the Jeff Gares, and like we were bringing some really, really good ball players, and still not making it to Sunday. But Scott Winhall has taken over the 40 team, and he's doing a great job with that. And we go to Florida as a 40 team and a 50 team every February to play in the Tournament of Championships. And Scotty's trying to get to Vegas this year, but they're definitely going to Florida. And then now that I'm 55, we're going to Vegas this year with a 50 team and a 55 team. They're on separate weekends, so we can, half the guys will play both, and we're gonna need some pickups for the 55 team and for the 50 team. But I've already have everything's in motion. It's just, are we going to be able to go?
Well, COVID's put a damper on a lot of things, and just being able to travel and go do something you love. I mean, it's a pain in the ass, that's for sure. Talk about these tournaments. You mentioned about the qualifying aspect. Go to Las Vegas. Now, is that Las Vegas Senior Softball? Is that what the name of that organization
Senior
is?
Softball. Yeah, but you don't have to qualify for Vegas.
Okay.
Vegas, you don't. It's just the Tournament of Champions.
Yeah.
You need, and Terry Hennessy, the president of Senior Softball, is very, very, very strict with that policy. If you haven't won a championship, you're not going. And like I said, we've won 3 times down there, and we played some really, really good teams. And sometimes we're matched up against some major plus teams, which are just like phenomenal. There's probably 5 or 6 major plus teams in North America in each division.
What about the differences in levels? Now, you talked about 50 major, 40 major. Now you've also mentioned major plus. How's the ranking system work down there, compared to what it's like here in Canada?
It's similar, but there's 4 levels. There's AA, there's AAA, there's major, and there's major plus. AA, AAA, and major, you're looking at anywhere from 40 to 55 teams in each division.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. And then when you get to major plus, they're like, which the only way we're going to get to major plus is if we win the worlds and bring it on, because we're ready this year. And I think if we're able to go and we're able to travel come September, our 55 team is primed and ready to win it this year. And I love the 50 team that we have going as well. We're going to be down there for almost 4 weeks straight.
Well, then it almost doesn't even matter, right? When it comes to the COVID aspect, if you're going there for 4 weeks, at least it makes it worthwhile, right? So what's another 2 weeks of quarantine? What does it matter if you're already down there?
Well, no, if it involves quarantine, unfortunately, Ryan, we're not going to be able to get 14 or 15 guys to go, so we won't be able to go.
Right.
So because the guys work, and guys have jobs and families to come home to, and it's just not going to work. So
Right.
fingers crossed that, like, I've already booked my flight, I've already booked my hotels, we're ready to go. But unfortunately, I'm trying to stay optimistic, but it's getting harder and harder as the days go by.
You're not kidding. It's extremely frustrating, and I mean, can talk about COVID till I'm blue in the face, but you're just beating a dead horse until these government officials, open up their eyes and see what's going on in other places. And I still don't believe the vaccine is going to be the savior of everything. They're going to vaccinate everybody. Then what? Are they just going to open everything up or not?
Well, it's like, from our aspect, it's like, do we really want to open up this can of worms here on this show? Because we could be here all day. But here's the thing. Like, did you watch the Kentucky Derby on the weekend?
Sure did. Absolutely.
Like, you watch ball games and hockey games every day. Like,
oh, yeah.
They're pretty much opened up in the States, right? And we can't even sit on a patio. So that, or golf. Like, I took up golf. Like, I was a casual golfer until last year, and I might have played 80, 90 rounds just because we can't do anything else. And now I love it. So, when we're in Vegas, we'll go to Phoenix, we golf. That's the thing I love about, like, playing slow pitch. We have a great group of guys, Ryan, and we do so many other things. It's not like we're competitive. Yes. Cause most of the guys on my team played at the A level for sure. And if they didn't play A, they played B. Right. So they're all competitive, but they're great guys, and we have a lot of fun. Like, not last year, but the year before, when we're in Vegas, we go to a Vegas Golden Knights game. Then we fly to Phoenix, see the Leafs in Phoenix. Like, it's not just about ball. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs, and obviously have a few pints in between games as well.
Well,
that's what I love about the slow pitch experience the most.
Sure.
It's just because it's just not about ball. I'm really, really competitive myself, and I love to win. Sometimes I like to win too much, but I'm trying to balance that. And it's tough being a player coach as well, because like, ideally I need someone that just would coach so I can just concentrate on playing. But that's the way I've been ran this team since 1999. So, but I have my Joe, who was my hardball coach. He's my right-hand man. He's on the book. He does all our travel arrangements, and he's amazing. And unfortunately, we don't have sponsorship. One of the best 50 teams in Canada, and we've never had a sponsor. So if there's anybody out there watching that wants to sponsor a great 50 and over team, contact Ryan Wood. There's my plug.
I mean, I'm sure that Reg is able to contribute and help out a little bit when the time comes. So maybe we'll put a little pressure on Reg.
He's kind of got all his eggs in the Orioles basket right now, but maybe when that ship sails and retires from running the O's, maybe we'll get a little bit of that.
There you go. No, that's good. Well, talk about some of the guys on the team. I mean, you mentioned a few of the A guys that have played, and I know that you've had, a guy like Patty Parsons, who was a really, really good player when he was playing A, one of the best singles hitters, and even had power too when he was playing Super Series. I mean, you mentioned Reg is on the team, and Grant Garrett, who's coached the Orioles and who was a really, really good player even when he was playing in his day. Kevin Bruder is playing for you guys too. I mean,
Mark Reagan.
Mark Reagan.
Mark Reagan. Yeah, like Tim Hawken. He lives in Windsor. He played for the O's as well.
Yeah,
like, I'm lucky. Brad Guile helped a lot with the recruiting in the early days, and kind of Reg helps now as well, and Danny Vella plays with us now as well. Like, so many great guys. And competitive, and they've been around for a long time and in the game for a long time and love the game, but they're just great guys as well. Like, we went just before COVID hit, we were in Phoenix for the Winter World Championships. Nothing like Vegas, but still there was 13 teams in major, 50 major, and we won that one.
Nice.
And that was one of our biggest wins. But we've had some others as well. But that was a nice one in 2019.
So, I mean, you've kind of talked about what you really enjoy the most about playing the game at the Masters level and just the game in general. I mean, is just the added experiences outside of the diamond, right? I mean, you talk about going to sporting events and having beers and probably staying in nice condos and just laying by the pool and just having a lot of fun with the boys, right? And I mean, and it's cool that you get to experience it with a guy that's been with you for as long as he has. And remind the people what's his name again? That
Joe Perpilia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he was my hardball coach as a kid.
Yeah.
Then got me into slow pitch, and he even played back in the day. And now he takes care of all the organizing, all the travel. Like Paul Charisma. I don't know if you know Rizzy. He lives in Kingston. They like years ago, the first couple of years when we went to Florida, we just stayed in condos. But then the guy, like now they rent a house and they get like 10 or 15 guys in the house. I still stay in the condo, but we go there for barbecues and whatnot and have a lot of laughs, watch a ball game or a movie or whatever. But yeah, Joe's been amazing, and he's a lifer. He's not going anywhere because he loves it too. Even though he doesn't lace him up like us, he still wants to win just as bad as the next guy, and he helps me quite a bit.
Well, for so many years, I mean, I've seen all your pictures when you win championships, and you see a lot of familiar faces. And he's one face that I always see in your photos, but I don't know much about the guy.
Yeah, you didn't know the history behind him, and how he's the guy that got me into slow pitch.
Yeah,
like how many years ago when I was 18 years old.
And it's great because I mean, it's not always about A players and all of their histories. Every player that's played this game in Canada and Ontario and everywhere, everyone's got a story, right? Everyone's got how they got there and what they did, and I mean, I think it's amazing that you basically built the Orioles of Masters ball with the Homerlovers, and now you've got Winnie running the 40s. You've got you and Reg and so many good people that are Brad Guile, who I got to play against when he was on the Rangers. Like he hits the ball really well, and now you guys are having like such great success. Talk about some of the teams that you got to compete against just in Ontario. Like you don't hear about the competition that you face. All that you see is the W's racked up for the Homerlovers. Talk about some of the competition that you got to face when you do, the SPO Masters qualifiers or play the Masters Super Series if you're playing that, or we're planning to play that this year. Like, talk about some of the competitive games that you're dealing with week in and week out when you're at these events.
Well, unfortunately, that's the problem. That's why we're playing. I wish there was more teams to play here in Ontario. Tom Buchan runs a great program, the Masters circuit out of Dorchester or London or wherever we're playing. But unfortunately, there's only 3 or 4 teams in every event. And because sometimes we're stacked, to the point like it's tough to get competition. But Rampower is a really good team. They've put together a good team, but they don't play in many tournaments. They play maybe SPN provincials. They don't play any Masters circuit. We've seen them in Ohio before. They travel the odd time, but they play in Utah every year. So, and then there's a few other teams. The way they did the border battle, not last year but the year before, because there was 3 Ontario teams. So we had to get out of we had to qualify to be the best Ontario team in order to play the American team in the border battle on the Sunday, and that's how that worked. But that's why we play in the States, Ryan. Is unfortunately there's not enough competition here in Ontario, and we want to play. Like I always like to play at least twice a month. That's my, I'd love to play 3 times, but guys have families and wives and whatnot and go on, the cottage and whatnot. So it's tough to play more than twice a month, but that's what I try and do. And unfortunately, there's just not enough at our age talent pool out there to play at our level.
Well, I think of some of the guys that I played with that are, I believe, over 50 now. James Lapointe and Mark Rassicle that are in Windsor, and I mean, I know that they were such good players playing for the Henchmen back in the day, and I mean, it's good to see Hawk playing with you guys. I mean, Tim Hawkins was one of the best infielders I ever played with, and from what people tell me now, he still tracks a ball just as well as he did when he was.
Oh, and he's a great guy too.
Oh, amazing guy,
super
right?
guy. Yeah.
So it's great to see some of those guys. I think that there are some good 50 players that could join you guys and do what you wanted to do that used to play A and B, but maybe they just don't play softball as much as they used to, and would probably need a good year of BP to get themselves back to what they used to be. But if you're a 50-year-old player and you're looking to play competitive Masters ball, James is the guy that you got to reach out to for sure.
I've kind of built the program, Ryan, to the point now where if like the first Masters circuit event was supposed to go May 15th, and unfortunately that's going to be it's been canceled.
Yeah.
But my plan was, because I'm doing like a 50 and a 55 team to play in the States, we were going to enter 2 teams just because I have enough guys.
Right.
Guys can't play. Like, we travel so much, you can't get everybody to go to all these tournaments. We go to Michigan a lot. We go to Syracuse, New York. We go to Ohio. We go to Vegas. We go to Phoenix. It gets expensive, especially without a sponsor, and guys can't make it. So that's why I have like 24 or 25 guys that are Homerlovers that just don't play. Even a guy like Mark Foster.
Yeah.
Great guy, great pitcher. I don't know how many Canadians he won with the O's, but I know he won one in his last year, and I think he won 2 or 3, but at least 2. And he kind of is shutting it down, or not certain whether he's going to play, but he's hoping to come back this year and play some more 50 ball in the state. So he'd be a great ad as well.
Well, and there's a lot of guys out there like that, but let's talk about when you transitioned from Super Series, started your Masters team. Talk about the first time that you took a 40-plus team down to the States, and what was your experience like? Did you win? And what did you learn that you needed to improve upon when you went back for the next round?
Well, first time we took a 40 team was the TOC in Florida, Tournament Champions. And that was in 2014, and we won back-to-back years. We won it in 2014, and we won it in 2015, and then we didn't win it again until 2017. But yeah, our first experience was this is awesome. It's great ball. I didn't even at the time probably take the strongest team, but chemistry sometimes wins out, and we had a great group of guys, great chemistry, and couple of key hits at key times. We had a huge walk-off by Mike Monaco in one game, and won us the championship.
How did you find out about these 40-plus events down in Florida? What led you to that TOC as opposed to other events that are, because there's so many different options for Masters events?
SBN had an affiliation with senior softball.
Okay.
And you win the provincials or you win the nationals, you get a qualifier. And a lot of times, people are like, oh, get a qualifier, go to the States, whatever, we're not going. But I'm the type of guy that's like, let's pursue this. It could be a good opportunity. It could be a lot of fun. And I don't look at it as just like a baseball, weekend. And at the beginning, that's what it was. We'd go down for the weekend. And now, Ryan, we go down for 10 days. We golf, we sit by the pool, we hit every day because we're going in February. So, guys, we ramp things up like 6 weeks prior indoors because we're trying to get ready, because the guys down in Florida, they're playing all the time. So we got to be prepared. So we ramp it up, we start hitting indoors, and then we get down there early, play some golf. Then we start going to hit every day, sometimes twice a day. So we're ready come Friday when the tournament starts.
Well, and you have so many guys that are like-minded, right? I mean, the guys that you have recruited to come and play are warriors. They're guys that this is what they love doing, and then you mix in some fun. And I mean, some of the guys that I know are on your team are extremely fun guys, and I've been able to be at Canadians with them and share some beers and some experiences. And some of them are animals, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, that's honestly like I love playing. I'm very competitive, but I do it more for like after the games and just the experience that we have and the laughter that we have, the good times that we have, and we see some pretty cool sporting events as well.
What other than Tournament of Champions, is there an event that you would love to be able to take your team to that maybe you haven't experienced yet?
Yeah, the Smoky.
Oh yeah,
We were going. We had our hotels booked.
yeah,
It was going to be in May of 2020.
yeah.
And we had a great team going. Like Leo Bertolin was going.
Sure.
I don't think I mentioned that name yet, but he
No.
played for us as well. We had a stacked team going to that, and unfortunately, because of COVID, it got canceled.
Well, I didn't even realize Smokey offered a Masters division.
Oh gosh, they have over 200 teams. ISSA does a Smoky in Maryville, Tennessee, I think it is.
Yeah.
And like so many, you've heard so many good things about it. All I had to do was like send out an email and say the Smoky, and it's like 2 days later, I got 15 guys like going
ready to go. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
and we would have went again this year, but that's 2 years in a row we weren't able to go. But that's one for sure that we haven't been to that I'd love to go to, and hopefully next year we'll be able to go. And Vegas is the one that like I'm not stopping until we get it. It's hard though. It's a 4-day tournament, and like I said, there's anywhere from 50 to 60 teams playing 50 major, 55 major.
Well, you guys won the Tournament of Champions in Florida. Was that at the major level?
Yes, it was 40 major. All 3 wins were 40, but we go 40 and 50 now. Yeah. And probably next year we'll go 40, 50, and 55.
Nice. Do they offer 35 down there?
No, they do not. They don't.
I got 2 more years. 2 more years.
I know, it sucks.
In terms of the border battle, all right, talk about like how it all worked. I know that you mentioned you got to win kind of your Ontario thing, but talk about the border battle for Masters and what it's all about and kind of how it all transpired and what was your involvement with it.
Yeah, Tom Buchan had an affiliation with ISSA, and it was great because it was going to help grow the program in Ontario as well as in the States. But the way Tom, I'm sure you know Tom. I know you had Tom on the program, and Tom does things his way, and his way was. I'm going to run it just like I run the regular border battle. So it wasn't about, he asked me if I wanted to run the team the very first year, but I said, sure, but I want to play. And he goes, no, you can't play. So I said, no, thanks for the offer, but I want to play. And he goes, well, I can't guarantee that you're going to get picked. And I said, that's fine, but I want to play. So Chappie actually got the head coach job for the first year when we went down to Michigan, and I played great. I played 3 games in the round robin, and unfortunately, I sat in the big game, and we fell short, which was fine. I was good with that. I wanted to play, but that's fine. A team called LeMay Contracting beat us in the finals, and then the following year, they're coming. They had to come to Ontario. So the way Tom did it is there's only one team coming. LeMay was coming, but there was 3 Ontario teams. So you had to qualify. You had to win to get into the border battle. and we did. We were successful on the Saturday. Played the American team in the round robin as well, but it didn't mean anything. It was just to get them some game experience. And we beat them on the Saturday, and then won our 2 games against the other 2 Ontario teams. And we were down, I think, 8 runs. I don't know. Did you watch any of that game?
No, I didn't.
Televised. It's still on the net.
I'll have to check it out.
We were down 8 runs, I think, in the bottom of the 7th, and I was leading off, and obviously down 8, I got to get on base. So I started the merry-go-round, and we ended up. I got another at bat that tied it, and then Scotty Watson won it for us. So we ended up winning by 1.
Nice. And I mean, there's another name that we haven't really mentioned yet, who's another amazing player.
Oh, unbelievable! I think he was either 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 in that game.
And not surprising. And I mean, the guy's over 50, and he's in an incredible shape, and could probably work majority of people, because I mean, he's a machine, that guy.
Well, we still have guys like and Scotty's going to be 56 this year. Bruder's going to be 56. And Reg still, like, Kevin Bruder played with the O's last year.
Absolutely.
I went to Montreal with them, and played well, I might add.
Yeah. Yeah, Brudes was such a talented player. In terms of just the relationship with Tom, I mean, you know, he asked you to coach, you chose not to, still were selected on the team, which is great. I mean, there could have been some politics there where he says, "Oh, he denied me," but you know, Tom doesn't.
No, I had nothing to do with Tom. It was Chappie's decision,
but that's
fine.
Which is great. You don't hear about politics when it comes to the border battle selections that go on in Masters compared to the other border battle team, and all this guy should be on and that guy should be on. Did that ever happen for you guys? Like, was there?
Well, there were a lot of our guys. There were some of our guys. I'm not going to name any names, but there were some of our guys that were upset they weren't selected. But they're just not going to select. A lot of the Homerlovers were on that team that got selected.
Sure, and so they should be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Chappie just went another way, which was fine. I got in the game, but I got in the game late.
That's okay. I know the feeling. Been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. So it's all good. You were there. You had a great.
I wanted to win. I don't care.
Yeah. Oh, you and me both.
Because I know as a coach, Ryan, you can't make everybody happy.
No.
You can't.
No.
Right. And
Absolutely.
I've had guys that have quit. I've had to sit my best friends. I've had to cut my best friends, my brother. Like, I've had to sit my brother, sit my buddies. But at the end of the day, if they don't understand, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm trying to put the best team on the field every single game. And that's all it boils down to, is that you're trying to be successful. You're trying to put the best guys on the team that's going to give you a chance to win that day, period.
Social media has made the sport, it's kind of blown it up a lot here in Ontario. I think with social media, you see a lot of people on Facebook, and a lot of players that post their hitting videos and look at me stuff. You have a lot of individualism on your Masters team, or is it everyone's there all for one for all?
Yeah, I'd have to say no. Like most of us. Like, I got guys that are almost 60, like Steve Days. I haven't brought up that name.
Oh man,
he's going to be 60 this year. And I'm sure Dazer.
Oh yeah, he'll use his pinky, and he could make you die.
I don't know if you saw what his pinky looks like now, right?
Sure.
We were in Florida. He got one off the pinky, and he had to have surgery.
Oh really?
Basically, he doesn't like a nub right now, but yeah, like no drama whatsoever, to tell you the truth. The only drama sometimes that's caused is through just my competitiveness, because I want to win so bad, and sometimes I could lose it.
Well, sounds like an Italian last name, though, no?
Oh yeah,
the fire. Oh yeah. you're retired now, right?
That's correct.
And for a lot of years, everyone talks Masters ball, and then usually life retirement just kind of goes hand in hand for a lot of times. Talk about what you retired from and what you were doing before being able to travel to Florida whenever you want and play softball.
Well, I was lucky because, as you know, I worked for comedian Jerry D. I was his tour manager from 2011, 2012-ish. And so I had the opportunity to work from home. We traveled, obviously we're on tour, but I was the one I was the one picking the dates. So if I knew we were going to be having a big tournament, I wouldn't schedule the show. I hope Jerry's not watching this, but
I'm going to send it to him. Hashtag no dates during softball.
Yeah, but going back to that, so in 2011, when Jerry got Mr. D, got a sitcom, we're good buddies. I probably saw me and my brother John, who I mentioned, who named the team. We were at his very first gig as an amateur at Yuck Yucks at Yonge and Eglinton. Just him and I, probably another 20 people in the crowd, and I might have saw his next 100 shows as an amateur. And he was a teacher at the time, teaching phys ed at De La Salle. So, he got on Last Comic Standing. That was the year Amy Schumer was on, and Jerry actually finished third above Amy Schumer. And then hence he got a sitcom, and then he knew his career was going to take off, and he needed a tour manager, and he wanted to travel with a buddy. He didn't want to travel. So he taught me the ropes, and it was a good run. 8-9 years of being Jerry D's tour manager, just him and I.
And you talked about in softball, just being able to go out, hang out with the boys, play softball. What was it like just hanging out with him? You watch him on TV and he's one funny guy. What's he like off camera? Is he's
just like me. He loves sports.
Yeah.
Loves sports. So I traveled. I've been to every small city and throughout Canada. So
nice.
Anywhere from St. John's to Victoria, BC. And if there's a show on, we're going to the keg afterwards and watching a hockey game, a baseball game, a basketball game, or whatever. We both love sports and good food. So after a show, we'd head to a bar and just hang out and just be buddies.
Right now, he's ripping it up on Twitter, just calling for Doug Ford because obviously he likes golf, and there's not a lot of golfing going on right now.
Yeah, I played a couple rounds with him just before he shut her down. We went to our old stomping grounds at Yonge and 401 and played the Don Valley track. I hadn't played that golf course in over 30 years.
How'd you shoot?
Not bad.
Nice.
I beat his daughter. I don't know if you've seen her swing. She's phenomenal. She's gonna be playing on the LPGA tour one day.
Nice. He's grooming her for that.
Oh, she's phenomenal.
Well, it's great.
He's got a simulator in his basement, and he loves the game. He loves the game.
Well, it sounds like you guys were two peas in a pod, being able to hang out and travel across Canada and share stories. And I'm sure you've seen some things that you can't talk about on air, but it's the life of the showbiz entertainment. As a guy who traveled around wearing spandex in a wrestling ring for about 6 years, it was a lot of fun, and the after fun was always the best part. It was just hanging out with the people, and the big thing that I could take out of this interview, James, is obviously you're a man who loves to enjoy his time, and clearly you have been able to enjoy your time with the Masters stuff. You talked about the Smoky. What is if we could get COVID away and in a perfect world, what's the schedule going to look like for the Homerlovers between now and your Tournament of Champions next February, which I assume you're going to want to go back to?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. I'm sure Riz has already booked the house in
nice.
Davenport, Florida. But No, we'll be playing like 2 tournaments a month. There's a big, if we could travel, like, are you talking like if
Yeah,
just
what?
playing in
Yeah,
Ontario, or
yeah. Just
if we could like
you
travel
could
like in the
travel, and
States?
the world wasn't ending according to our Ontario government today. What's the schedule going to look like? If you could make a schedule right now and knew you could go to every single tournament that you wanted to for the rest of this year, what would that schedule look like?
Oh, we would have played 2 tournaments in May
Yep.
in Ontario, just to kind of get the cobwebs out. We would have played a master circuit in London. We would have played um, the Can-Ams in Niagara Falls at the end of May, and then we would have played probably a couple in Michigan, because that's where, like, you can drive, and you're not spending
Yeah.
a lot of money with their flights and whatnot, because like I said, everybody pays their own way, and we're lucky because for the most part we got a bunch of guys that money's not an issue, and they don't complain, and they love it, and they don't have a problem with forking out the cash. But like, when you go to Vegas, you're not talking a $300 weekend. You're talking about a 2,000. If you're a gambler, it could be a $10,000 weekend, right? So no, Vegas is not until September. So I'm like, but I already know, Ryan, like, the border battle is going to be canceled this year, and like,
Yeah.
but like that would have been on the docket for some time end of July. So and that would have been in Michigan this year. So, and I don't even know what Tom was thinking about doing, as far as he would have probably went back to picking a coach and selecting the team, which I'm fine by, but because I would have loved to do it. I'd love to do both. I'd do the 55 and the 50, and be a player coach on the 55, and coach the 50s, and but I know, I doubt that's going to happen, but it like, in a perfect world, yeah, we'd be going to the border battle in Michigan and sometime in July. Um, there's a really good tournament somewhere down south. I think it's in Virginia Beach in August, and that was going to be our tune-up for Vegas. And then 4 weeks in Vegas, we got to we're going to take the 55 team in mid-September, then go back to Regis in Phoenix for a week, hang out, play some golf, then go back to Vegas for the 50 weekend, go back to Regis again, and then go to Utah and play in the Huntsman Games.
Talk about the Huntsman's games, because
Never been, Ryan.
yeah,
I've never been.
Well, what's the attraction to this? Because a lot of people have mentioned this Huntsman games, and I've heard of it before. But talk about what it is and what it means.
Yeah, I'm probably not the guy but I know a little bit about it. I've never gone, and I've always wanted to go, but like, there's only probably 4 or 5 teams you're playing against. So for me, that doesn't tickle my fancy as far as competition. But like the views, the landscape, the mountains, the diamonds are like phenomenal from what I've been told. I've seen pictures. I don't know if you've seen pictures, photos on Facebook and whatnot, but it's like playing in Whistler, which I would compare it to, because that was probably Spruce Grove in Whistler in 2001 was like the nicest diamonds I ever played on. It was spectacular. But we're not taking our team. I was asked to play on a 55 team with Tony Retta's Ram Power team, and I said, sure, I'd love to go, because I'm going to be down there anyways. So play 3 tournaments and a little bit of golf and hang out at Regis for a bit. It's going to be fun.
Can't wait for retirement life.
Life is good.
Yeah, no kidding. World Masters games. I know that softball has been in the past for World Masters games. It's kind of like the Olympic for master sports. Have you ever thought of that type of an event?
No, World Masters games. When and where? Well,
they have all the different events, right? They have bowling and
that's like the Huntsman then.
Very similar.
Yeah.
So multiple different games, a lot of different disciplines. for for the for the sports, and they have teams that come from all over. I know that they had some teams come from like Europe to play in the past as well.
Is the
So
venue the same every year? I've never heard of it.
yeah, I think that it's kind of all over the place. So I'm gonna Google this right now. World Masters Games. This year they're in 2021 in Kansas and Kansai.
So the venue changes every year?
Yeah, this year they're Japan.
Oh, yeah.
No big deal. Toronto started hosting them in
Yeah.
1984,
Yeah,
and,
that might be
and
a little hefty for the pocketbook, but
Japan. Why not? Could be good. But they do have lots of different disciplines, and I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's slow pitch that they offer, because I do know of a group of guys that played in it from Alberta in the past, and they won it. And it's just another thing to throw on your list of places that maybe you can get another title. Because I mean, I'm sure that you got enough fingers to fill still, and
yeah, I still got it. I'm still hoping for a few more. Trust me. Like I said, I'm not stopping, and I plan to play another 20 years, God willing. I hope I can. I'm not going to stop anytime soon. I love it too much, Ryan, and we have way too much fun. And as long as I'm healthy and guys continue to want to play for me, which like I'm blessed that guy, for the most part, we have a really, really good group of guys and that I think enjoy playing for us. So hopefully if that continues, I can see us going on for years and years and years.
well, you have most. It's like anything. People like people that are organized, right? So if you offer something that's organized, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what you got to do, and all those guys got to do is click a button to say yes or no, and then everything's kind of looked after. Other than hey, I got to pay for a flight, send money, whatever. I mean, guys like organizational structure, right? And I mean,
Yeah.
that's why a team like the Orioles do so well, and all aftershock is because they're organized, right?
No,
So
I agree, and that's where I give kudos to Joe P, because he's a master. He's a great organizer, and guys love him too. Like he can party with the best of them. So he's very well organized and puts everything on a spreadsheet, and guys know what they owe, and we're lucky to have him. We really are.
last tournament that if you guys ever get a chance to play it in Masters Division, they call it Old Pro in Bismarck, North Dakota at the McQuaid's. It is an amazing event. I used to play in it when I was living in Winnipeg. We'd drive down and play in the B division, and they offer all the different age brackets. And there's over 500 teams that play in this tournament, with all the different divisions. Something to look at for sure for something that's different. I know it's North Dakota, it's not Vegas, it's not Florida, it's not Phoenix, it's not Utah, but when it comes to the sport of softball, North Dakota is one of the better states for sure.
What month? Do you know what month that's in?
In June.
In June, yeah. So that's probably around the same time of the Smoky, because I think the Smoky's in June this year. But
Yep.
no, I'll definitely look at it. Like what I love about what we're able to do is because we can play like without COVID, we can play throughout the entire summer, and then
Yep.
Vegas is in September. Great, right? So you're playing when ball is over here. And then we go to Phoenix in November, even better. And then we go to Florida in February. So it kind of staggers it where like it shortens your winter because you got stuff to look forward to during the winter
Sure.
time.
Well, Scotty Wynn Hall, I'm 2 years away from a contract. I look forward to having one on the 40 plus Homerlovers. Please keep me in mind. And James, if there's anything that you could say about that you haven't already said today, what's one thing that comes to your mind that you would just you'd love to mention?
F COVID. Let's get back on the diamonds. That's all I can think of right now, buddy. Is like I've had enough of this BS, and I'm ready to get back to living.
For sure. Well, James, I appreciate you taking the time to do this for me. It's always awesome to hear about different perspectives in the game. And yeah, I mean, you've done a great job with the Homerlovers. Congratulations for all of your success. And I wish you nothing but the best going forward, and for you and all the players and the Homerlovers.
Thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate you having me on. It's been
No,
fun. It's been
yeah,
fun,
good.
pal.
Well, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next time.
Thanks, buddy. Have a
All
good one.
right, you too. All right. That was James Macciocchi from the Homerlovers, runs one of the biggest masters program in Ontario. He's done an amazing job and shared some great stories about some of the events and tournament successes and just a lot of championships. And if you're not familiar with the Homerlovers masters program, you definitely want to look them up because they've had tons of success. For Ryan Wood, special guest next week. Very excited about this as well. Gonna have lots of amazing stories, and we're gonna probably learn a little bit about what it's like to be a Sasquatch. But next week we're going to have Skip, aka Scott Lee, former Oriole and multiple gold medalists in the Canadian Slow Pitch Championships, will be on the show next week. That'll be a great one. But for Ryan Wood and amateursports.tv, this is World Softball TV here on ASTV. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next week.